Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a Quillow, which is a quilt that folds into a pillow. Now, this is kind of a weird shaped quilt because it's really long and not very wide in order to fold into the pillow. There are instructions with the cutting instructions and the fabric requirements in the link below, but you have two options to start. You can start with 4 half yards of fabric or 8 fat quarters. So I am making a Quillow that is going to use 4 half yards of fabric. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are my 4 fabrics, and I'm going to cut them into 8 fat quarters and use these for my Quillow. If you just want to take 8 fat quarters that kind of coordinate, you can do that also. So you can have 8 completely different fabrics, or you can have 4 fabrics that you then turn into fat quarters to piece together. So the first step will be to take our fat quarters and sew them together. So we're going to sew them into 4 rows. Right here I have my first 2 rows. So I have this gold. It is sewn to the dark blue, and I will press that probably towards the dark blue. And then I have like my stripe sewn to the lighter blue, and I'm going to repeat that with my other 4 fat quarters. They're going to pretty much exactly match this first 4, and they are going to go together like this. So you can see I've sewn my 2 fat quarters together into a row. I'm going to make 4 rows. So this is my first row. This is my second row. I'm repeating this for my third and repeating this for my fourth. You are sewing the short ends together. So a fat quarter is typically 18 by 22. You are sewing the 18-inch sides together. So I have sewn this with the cut edge of my fat quarter at a 1/4 inch. You can do a 1/2 inch, but that's going to make your Quillow even just a little bit thinner. So I have done this at a 1/4 inch, and my selvages, you can see, are on the edges. So once you have sewn your 4 rows together, you will then sew the rows into the Quillow. So I will sew this to the bottom of this, and then sew the next row and the next row. All right, so the Quillow is a little bit bigger than most of the projects that I do for you in these YouTube tutorials. So I had to put it up on my design wall, and you can see how each row, so there's the first 2 rows, and then there are the last 2 rows. So they are all sewn together into one piece. So now the next step will be to cut the background piece and the batting. Now we're going to make the pocket. And to make the pocket, you need 2 18 by 18 pieces. Mine match the back, but you can certainly do 2 different fabrics for your pocket. One side is going to be visible when the pillow is open, and one side will be visible when the pillow is closed. So it's up to you. I am making mine match my background piece. The pocket is sewed to the back of the Quillow. These are 18 by 18 inch squares. And then I also have an 18 by 18 inch square of batting. So what you are going to do is you are going to place the batting down with the wrong side up. So with batting, there is often a right and a wrong side. The right side feels a little more soft, and the wrong side feels a little more nubby. So the wrong side is up. Now you can also press this, but it can be really hard to press batting without distorting it too much. So I'm just leaving it like this. And then you will take one of your pocket fabrics and place it right side up. So this is the back of the pocket. So this can be the part of the pocket that will be on the inside when it is open. It will not be visible when the Quillow is open, but this is the side that people will see when the pillow is closed. Then we're going to take our second 18 by 18 piece and we're going to put it with the wrong side up. So batting, right side up, one piece right side up, one piece right side down. And then we are going to stitch around 1/2 inch all the way around the pocket except for a little opening. So again, we're going to leave a little opening and then we're going to stitch all the way around. These steps are similar to the steps that you will use for your Quillow piece. So it's a little hard to demonstrate this with the Quillow because it's so big and it's hard to get into the entire camera. So you're going to do these same steps with your Quillow. So with your Quillow, you will place your batting with the right side up. You will place the back of your Quillow, which is the just one big piece, right side up. And then you will place your front, which is your little 8 patch, with the right side down. You will sew around the Quillow, leaving an opening. So the steps for the Quillow and the pocket are the same. Just follow the directions in the pattern. So once you have sewn your quilt sandwich with your batting and backing and front, you'll turn it inside out and you'll kind of trim the corners and press the corners out like this very carefully so you don't poke any holes through. And then you'll press around all of the edges and you'll press under the fabric at the opening. So this is my opening and I have pressed the top and then I've pressed the bottom and the backing. And the next step will be to hand stitch. Just do a quick whip stitch to close that opening. Okay, once you have sewn the little ends closed, which now I can't even really find the part that I sewed. I think it's right here. So once you've sewn the little holes closed that you use to turn your pocket in your quilt, you're going to do some really light quilting. Often I will create some sort of like pattern or design that matches the Quillow. I've done a heart, I've done a little car. I have done an initial, but you do have to be careful about that because you're going to see the pocket on both sides. It's not one of those pockets where you see one side and you don't ever see the other, because from one direction you see the pocket when it is a pillow and then it gets flipped and turned around and you'll see the pocket when it becomes the quilt. So you do want to be careful if you choose to do a letter. It needs to be something that can be reversed. So the one I've done is an M, and an M, it looks the same no matter which way, but like C, L, many of the other letters don't really work. So I usually just try to pick a picture or I just do a little square. So you can probably see it a little better on this side because you can see my lines that I drew for tracing. It's just a chalk that'll come off when I wash. So I just quilted a simple square, and then on the Quillow, I quilted very simple little rectangles around each panel. So you don't need a lot of quilting on your Quillow. Very minimal quilting is okay. You can just stitch in the ditch along the lines of the panels. So you can just stitch along here and across all the other seams that you have. And the next step is going to be to add your pocket. So the pocket is going to go on the back of your Quillow. And you're going to center the pocket on the bottom edge, and I will press and turn that under just a little bit better, along the bottom edge. And you're going to stitch the pocket around these edges. So you're just going to do the side, the bottom, and the side, and you're going to leave the top open. When you stitch the top, you are going to want to back stitch a couple of times to really hold that in place, because this is what's going to be taking a lot of strain as the Quillow gets folded and unfolded over and over again. All right, so I have sewn my pocket on. You can see it's right there, and the stitching from the pocket does show on the other side, so make sure you pick a thread that you're going to like. To fold the Quillow, you simply will use these lines as a guide, and you fold one side in this way and the other side in this way to basically create a trifold. And once you have created the trifold, you will flip until you've created a square that is the same size as your pocket. And then you will flip it inside out. So you will grab the corners of the pocket, you'll push the corners out, and now you have a little pillow. So that is how you make a Quillow.